I apologize for that. We are talking today about buyers and earning their loyalty. Because working with buyers is time consuming. It requires patience and time and understanding. Buyers are guarded when they first meet us. They are suspicious and they are careful. This causes them to lie or omit information. If they don't know us, they don't trust us, why should they give us their private information? We have to first earn their trust. In order to earn their trust and get them to open up to us and be honest about their interests, their qualifications, their financial information, after we have that information, we have to then earn their loyalty, because there are many options for them. There are just way too many real estate agents out there that offer the same services. Why should they choose us? It is our obligation to make sure they choose us. And they're going to choose us based on the services that we offer, the guidance and advice that we provide to them. We have to explain to them what is the process that we follow. What are the benefits of working with us, the expectations we have. Most of the problems we have with buyers is that we do not have clear expectations. If we explain to them up front what we expect from them in the process, and we are able to explain to them what they can expect from us, then we can make a decision whether we want to work together or not. We also want to talk about the time frame. We as professionals must have an understanding of the motivations that buyers have. Why do they buy? What is it that they are looking for? Okay? The majority of people desire to own their own home because they think that it is an excellent investment. Many people buy due to different life changes. Some because of marriage and a growing family, some because of divorce, some because they are empty nesters and the children have moved out or they're ready for retirement. Many buy a home because due to a career change or a job relocation. There are many people who are buying homes in multi-generational situations in order to share expenses. Some are because they want to care for aging parents or elderly parents. Some because grandma and grandpa can take care of the kids and save money in the process. So when we understand the motivation, why, what is it that is getting these people to buy? Why are they interested in buying? Then we really have a better understanding of how we can help them. We are in the business of helping them buy a home. One of the biggest problems for most people is, especially first-time home buyers, is the down payment. It's the most difficult task in buying the property. It is saving for down payment while at the same time those people who are carrying debt being able to pay down that debt. Because as we know, there's a combination of debt to income ratio that the lender will look at and the amount of down payment that is required for that specific loan. This is probably one of the most difficult things. There are people that we meet that may not be ready to buy today But with our guidance, with our help, we can get them ready in a few months or even in a couple of years, get ready for homeownership. So this is where the value of our service is, how we help them and assist them, not just during the purchase process because we want to earn a commission, but because we really want to help them get ready for homeownership so that they can maintain that home and be happy there and, of course, for us in the future. So let's talk a little bit about multi-generational homes. 57 million Americans live with parents, grandparents. There are some that live 3 generations in a home. This is common because of the high cost of living, because there are some areas where it's very difficult for one individual or couple to own a home their own because of taxes or because of just the price of properties. So if we understand that our client is in this situation, we need to approach the search differently than if it's just one individual or a couple. Okay? In a multi-generational home, we want to find out how many people are involved in the decision process. Who is bringing down payment? The worst thing that can happen is you find out the down payment is coming from someone who is going to be living in the property but is not on the mortgage at the end, because that can cause problems and delays. So the more you know up front, the better it is for everyone in that process. For you as their agent, but also for them because they will understand. Another thing you want is to make sure that everybody is happy with the property, that you don't go back 14 different times showing first to the people that you're working with and then to grandma and grandpa and then the cousins and everybody else in the family. Everyone who needs to make a decision about accepting or rejecting a property should see the property. And if it's better if they do it all up front. Otherwise, you're wasting your time going back and forth, looking at the property multiple times, and then somebody doesn't like it. Okay. Now, we all know that location is very important. And we work in a very difficult area because we have so many different counties that are close to us. But we understanding what is the location that is of interest to our buyer. Very important. Is the quality of the neighborhood what is important to them, and what is it that we can do legally to help them find the right house without discrimination, without steering, without scaring people into or out of neighborhoods, because that could cause a problem for us. Okay? We need to know how convenient do you need to be to your job or to public transportation. What is most important to them? Overall affordability of homes is something that we need to be aware of. What properties come on the market? We should know our market very well. What is the convenience to friends and family if they have family close by and that is the reason they're buying? Shopping or the quality of schools. Schools are a major influence in the decision making for homeowners or home buyers. That's what they're interested in. We need to research or guide them as to where they can find the information. We don't always want to be the ones who give them the information, but we want to be the person that they go to find out where to go. I usually send them directly to the Board of Education, and there are many resources that we can use. We do not want to state an opinion as fact, because if it's something having to do with a school district, for example, and I may think that school is great. I graduated from that school in the mid 80s. The school may have changed. Okay, or the programs that those buyers are looking for in the school system are no longer available, or they don't have them. So your opinion of whether a school system is good or bad is tainted by whether you have somebody that is going there or the interest that you or they have. Okay? So I always say to people, here is the information about the school system, and you need to also, this is part of the beginning conversation of what they can expect from me. I cannot be expected to tell them what is the better school system. They need to also help in the research, especially if it's something that is important to them. I don't want it to fall on my shoulders that I chose the school system. Okay? Or the design of the neighborhood. What are the features or the things that are available in the area for them? Now, commuting costs, especially for our area, are very important. Almost 70% of people who purchase a home say that it is somewhat important or very important. For our area, we have to be very aware of where they work as opposed to where they want to live and why they want to go there. Because sometimes they may visit an area on the weekend when there's not much traffic. They buy a property, and when they have to go to work on Monday, they sit in traffic for hours and hours. So it's important to talk about these things up front and to understand what they're thinking. That initial conversation with them is where we're going to find out about these things. Another thing that we want to talk about is the environmentally friendly features that many homes are now able to have. A lot of buyers right now are looking for ways to save money and to save the environment. So we want to find out from them what is important to them. I'll tell you, in the area where I work, a lot of people right up front, they say, I want nothing to do with oil heat, because they have heard the nightmares of oil tanks. Now, if you are aware of a property that would be perfect for them that has oil heat, or that the oil tank is in the basement rather than in the ground, okay, you want to ask them, okay, would you want me to tell you about something like that? Or do you want me to just automatically not show it to you? So we want to give them different options, but the options need to match what they're looking for, what is important to them. Now, we are finding in some areas that the inventory is tight, difficult to find good properties, and the ones that come up on the market are getting multiple offers. Having an understanding up front as to what to expect in a situation like that is the most important thing in the conversation. Because when you start working with a buyer and you make an offer and they get outbid the first time is difficult. But when you are outbid 2, 3, 4, 5 times, well, one of the problems may be that we did not have the conversation with them about how the offers are going to affect, or the properties that are available, the number of features that that property has, or how long it's been on the market, affect the desirability, neighborhood, school system, okay? And have to talk to them about in a tight market, they have to make an offer that is good, that is strong. Now, most people think that the most important thing in an offer is the price. And yes, price is important, but also terms are important. Time frame is important. May have three or four buyers looking at the same house, and there might be someone that is bringing cash um, that makes a little bit lower offer, or someone with an FHA loan or a VA loan, someone who needs more time, someone who has to sell a house or they have a contingency. These are a lot of the things that we need to talk to them about. And the stronger the offer up front, the better chance they have of being able to actually getting that house. So most buyers start their search online before they even talk to a real estate agent. And most of the buyers, 53% of buyers report that the hardest task, the process, is finding not just a home, but the right home. That's where we can help them. But we need to first know what they're looking for. You cannot find what you don't know you're looking for. So we have to have that initial conversation with them as to how many homes they plan to see or they need to see before making a decision, the strength of their offer. And, most people say, you know what, let me try a lower offer and see if I can get less money. But we, knowing the market and knowing what happens to properties that go on the market that are priced well, that have the features that most people want in the desirable neighborhoods, know what's going to happen with those properties. They're going to get multiple offers, and in most cases, they're going to sell for right at asking price or above. But when buyers don't understand that up front, they get mad at us because they think we're not doing the best we can for them. Now, agents use by buyers. 88% of buyers purchase their home through a real estate agent broker. And most of them found that working with an agent was very helpful in finding the right home, because we do have resources of being able to find homes fast and in different locations. Also, in helping to understand the process, they found that very helpful. And one of the most important things to buyers was honesty and integrity of the real estate agent they were working with. Now, how buyers found their agent continues to be the highest percentage is a referral from a friend or a neighbor or a relative. So don't forget to ask for those referrals. 12% used an agent that they had previously worked with. So it's those past clients, those relationships that we have established in the past are very important. And then just having a good reputation that with the people that we have worked with or the people who know us to refer us when they know someone is buying a home. Now, the population is growing. We have 37 million more people in this country, and there is a less inventory. So this causes a problem for prices, because if there is less inventory and there are more buyers, well, it's a good thing that that causes people to want to buy a house. So we want to be out there and aware of what is happening. Now, why would a buyer choose us? Choose me instead of any one of you. Okay? We have to be different. We have to do something that is different in the services that we offer or the customer service, the delivery, the advice, the knowledge that can differentiate us from our competition. We have to treat people equally but differently. We have to treat everyone equally so that we follow the same process and procedure with everyone so that we are not in a problem of discrimination against anyone. But we need to know individually what that person is uh, finds interesting or important. Someone who wants to find a home through a mobile technology. Well, you know you have to treat them differently than someone who wants to go around looking at every open house in the neighborhood. They're totally different types of buyers. So you need to be aware of how people like to be communicated with. And we need to find that out up front. So what is it that you have to offer? Is it just MLS access? Well, everybody has that if they're an MLS subscriber. Is it lockbox access? The more lockbox access you have, a reliable car, okay? The most valuable things that you have to offer to a buyer is your time, the time that you spend with them, and your knowledge of the neighborhood, of the properties, the knowledge of the values of the individual properties they're looking at, and the knowledge that you provide, that you bring to the table for the other services that are necessary about interest rates, about having access to mortgage, different products that are available, maybe even grants that may be available in the area, where to find down payment, how to save for down payment. This is the knowledge and the experience that you can bring to the table that can get someone to give you their loyalty. So having MLS access and lockbox access is not enough. You are the one who makes the difference. Your gift that you give to them. But you also have to choose who you work with because you want to make sure that you're not wasting your time. So when you have a process and you start out with an initial consultation where you discuss their needs, their wants, desires, their dreams, why they're buying, where they're going, who do they know there, how far do they want to be from work, what's important to them about that neighborhood, what is important to them about the school system, all of these different things that go into an initial consultation. You want to talk to them about the searching process, how appointments are made, who makes the appointments. You don't want buyers knocking on doors or going to open houses without you. You want to make sure you have a very clear understanding of how the process will work. What happens when you make an offer? What is expected in an offer? Communication in an offer, the type of offer you're going to make, the transaction processing, what happens once the offer is accepted, and all of the things that are necessary to be done. And then you go to closing. What happens? What to expect in that? The follow-up after closing. And then, of course, at the end, recommendations and referrals. Because if they're happy with what you did, they know people that they could refer you to. So starting with the initial consultation, we have tools available that can provide. This happens to be the screenshot of the presentation, the buyer's presentation that I use with buyers. And it's at the first page, it says experience the advantages of working with an executive. You can customize it for your own purposes. And the purpose of this consultation is to educate them about everything, about the process of buying, about what your expectations are of them, what they can expect from you. You want to come to a mutual agreement to work together and how you're going to work together. Make a commitment to each other for a specific amount of time and for the time that it's going to take, you want to earn their loyalty. And in this consultation, you can get that. You can have them understand that unless they buy through you, you don't get paid. It's important to talk about that. Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, unless you buy a home through me, all the time that we spend together is wasted, at least for me, because I will not get paid unless you buy through me. Don't be afraid to speak to them about that. It's the reality. And then you want to have accountability. How are we going to look at the properties? I expect you to be on time for our appointments. I am going to be making appointments. If somebody is waiting for us, whether it is a tenant or a buyer or a seller, or if it's an agent that is meeting us with a key, we need to have the accountability that once you set up an appointment, they're going to show up, that they're not going to cancel at the last minute and leave you hanging after you made appointments and made 37 phone calls to get appointments. Now you have to call back and cancel all the appointments. You want to have a serious conversation about what to expect. In the search process and appointments, explain to them how that works. That you actually have to sit in front of the computer and look through the listing. Find out whether it is still available. Just because it comes out on the internet does not mean that the property is available. You want to make sure that it is available when you go show it, when you set up the appointment. There are some properties where you call to set up an appointment, and you have to call 3 or 4 different people just to set up an appointment. You have to call the agent, you have to call the owner, you have to call the tenants. So you want to make sure they understand that there's a lot of work involved in this. Once the appointments are set, you're going. If it's a lockbox, obviously it's much easier, but you still cannot use a lockbox unless you have confirmed that the property is available, that it is available for sale, and that you can show it. Offers and negotiations. Now, explaining to them who you represent, you need to have a discussion about what your obligations are under agency. Do you represent them exclusively as a buyer's agent? What that means. Or if you are working with them as a dual agent, or you're working with them as both. You're looking at properties from the MLS, but you're also showing them your own listings or listings from our company. You need to have them understand up front the limitations you have when you are working as a dual agent. Always doing a CMA or taking a look at the market with the properties that have sold prior to making an offer, because you want to let them understand what the value of the property is, so they're making an informed offer. You want to obtain all of the disclosures prior to the offer being presented, or in discussing with them what the disclosures are. If there's an oil tank that was removed or that is still in the property, or there has been mold in the past, if there's a roof problem. These are some of the disclosures that you need to find out up front before they make an offer. Once you have all of the disclosures, you've discussed the offer that you want to make, you know the value of the property based on what has sold in the area, then you want to come up with a strategy to help your buyer get the best deal. You want to prepare the offer and then put all the documents together, make sure they sign everything that needs to be signed, and then your job is then to present and negotiate on their behalf. You want to let them know this is work. There's a lot of things that need to be done in this process. And of course, if the if the transaction or the offer is accepted, what happens? Then what happens if the offer is not accepted? They need to understand what happens. You're going back to the drawing board. You're going back to looking at properties again and doing appointments. But once the offer is accepted, the buyer should understand the process, what to expect every step of the way. What is the good faith deposit? Is a good faith deposit required? Who holds it? How is the good faith deposit um, in relationship to the total down payment? When is that due? The time frame, the right that they have to attorney review, and what happens if they choose not to work with an attorney. It's very important that Opinion 26 notice that they understand that although they have a right to work without an attorney, there are situations where they should. It's more important for them to have that protection from an attorney because we cannot give them legal advice. Then the home inspections as well as other inspections like the septic inspection. What happens if the septic fails or there's a problem in the well or they find termites or there are other issues that come up? We want to let them know up front and know what they want to do. A buyer may say, you know what, I don't care about all the problems because I'm going to take care of all of the issues and all of the problems. But they still need to understand what could happen. Is there any chance of renegotiation because of reinspection or inspection issues? They need to understand the mortgage application and commitment process. They need to apply for their mortgage as soon as possible. And as soon as they get their documents or their offer of commitment, I have found nightmares with some people who they receive the letter in the mail or by email of the offer of commitment. They need to understand that they need to sign those documents and send them back to the bank as soon as possible, accepting the commitment or accepting the loan and the terms of the loan. And that there's an appraiser that will come over to the property and take a look. And that affects their mortgage process. The certificate of occupancy and whether the fire inspection is the same as the certificate of occupancy or if there are different inspectors that come through, what they're looking for. The utilities, that they have to change the utilities into their name when you're getting closer to the closing. And then what to expect in the final walkthrough. And, of course, what to expect at the closing date. They need to make sure that the property is in condition, that everything has been removed for the property that wasn't supposed to be there. That if they find you go to a final walkthrough and the seller has not moved away yet, or their stuff is still there, what happens? What to expect? Are they flexible? Can they delay the closing, or can they close and notify the attorney that you need a use and occupancy agreement, or is the seller going to be paying money? What happened on the other end? Did they already move out? Sometimes the buyers already has their stuff in a truck and they have no place to live. So you want to discuss these things up front so they understand and they're prepared for the unexpected. This is where your experience and your advice is the most valuable thing that you can provide to them. Then what happens after closing? You want to make sure that you follow up with them. You let them know that you cared about them by following up with them. How's everything with the house? Did you find everything okay? You also want to stay in contact with them for recommendations and referrals so that they are thinking of you after the closing and are able to refer you to other people. So this was the webinar about buyers and working with buyers. And if you have burning questions about how to be a better buyer's agent, there are many ways in which you can do that. There are classes where you can become a buyer's expert. You can speak with a manager about how to differentiate yourself from the competition, how you can do things a little bit, offer um, a different way of working with your buyers. If you don't already have a buyer's presentation book, that could be one thing that you can get started with so that you can get um, more loyalty from your buyer. Hope this has been helpful, and I wish you the best. Have a great day.